Hey there, thanks for clicking on this video. You have found the channel Mr. Articulate. On this channel, I record a YouTube video of roughly 5 minutes in length, and I upload it every night. So, the next thing that I typically say at the start of these videos is what my major goal is when I record each video. And the thing I've said at the start of every video that I have made to date is that my goal is to speak as articulately as I can and avoid using filler words like or filler phrases like you know. But in the maybe 3 weeks or so that I've been doing these videos, I have actually seen a lot of progress in speaking more fluently when I'm talking each night about whatever I'm talking about. And I've seen a lot of progress in avoiding the use of filler words. So it's gone quite well. And it's gotten me to thinking it's time to leave that behind, maybe not forever, but for now, as being the main goal that I carry into each video, and time to pick up something new. And the very first video I ever made on this channel, I stated my goal in making these videos, and I talked about why. And the why still stands. The why is that I have opinions on a lot of topics that many other people do too. Various cultural questions of our day, political questions of our day, and then stuff that's not so controversial, but I have opinions on art and what artists I like and don't like, and what poets I like and don't like. I have opinions on history and sports and all manner of things that a lot of people have opinions on. And I think my opinions have as much validity as the next guy, but when it comes to explaining to anyone who is not myself why I think the things I think, I struggle mightily to do so. It's like uh, from outside of me, inputs come into me, data of all kinds, and I use data in a broad sense of that term, just facts about reality, experiences, impressions that I experience, things like that. And it's like they come into me and they arrange my mind in new ways. They give me new perspectives, new insights, make me grow as a person, and so on. But they don't leave me with any language to describe what has happened. So I grow in my opinions about cultural topics, political topics, what have you. And I feel that there's real validity to the process that occurred in me that led me from belief A to belief B. But I don't have any way to verbalize what all happened in me that brought me from A to B. It's a big struggle I have. So that really is my goal in this channel, is if I'm talking for 5-ish minutes every night about something, then I hope in time I will get better at verbalizing my inner life and my inner perspectives, and not just be able to state conclusions and then stutter about the steps that brought me there, but speak in full sentences, full paragraphs about the steps that brought me from the beginning to the end of whatever. So anyway, that is my main goal, or you could call it my overarching goal, my ultimate goal with this channel. And so I started out with the endeavor to just be able to speak with fluency and not use filler words or filler phrases. And what I'm going to move on to now is, and I'm going to start saying this at the beginning of each of my videos, is my goal in talking for the next few minutes about whatever will be to organize the things that I am saying as I'm talking, so that I am not rambling and simply saying stuff about whatever topic I'm discussing, but instead organize that stuff and have a framework for what I'm saying, so that when I embark on talking about one element of whatever the subject matter is, I have a picture of how the beginning of what I'm saying is going to lead to the end of what I'm saying on this element, and a picture of what will be the next element that I'm going to talk about, and how I will employ however many elements in the video to make a point that is coherent and unitary and interesting for someone else to hear. Because if I'm just talking without a sense of an organizational structure, I think that makes it a lot less interesting for someone who's not myself to sit in on and listen to. So that's where I'm going to go now with that. Other ways I was sort of thinking about what I mean here is I want to be more on top of my words as I'm talking. I want to be digesting my own words. So when I speak so that other people can hear my words and digest them, but why not try to be listening in on my own words as well? So we'll see. The thing that was really nice about the first goal I started with this channel, basically making my guiding principle for each video I made, is that it was very measurable. To speak as fluently as I could, that is not very measurable, but then the avoiding filler words, it's cut and dry whether I do that or don't do that. I've messed up a few times in this video, and each time it's very obvious that I've messed it up, and that will be helpful to me in trying to mess up less next time. But it's not going to be so very easy to measure whether I have been able to organize my thoughts as I go in my next videos that I do the rest of this week, say. Is that going to be a problem? I don't know yet, but I love the idea of having an idea and jumping into it and doing it, and not waiting until I have found a way to perfect an idea before I implement it, but just implement what I have when I have it and then iterate from there. I think that is such a better way to come up with successful projects and ventures, is just jump in with what you've got and then iterate from there. So that's what I'm going to do. My last thing I'll say here is that a balance I'll be learning how to strike as I go is how much should I try to organize the content of what I'm going to say on a given topic before I hit record on the video, and to what extent should I leave it mostly undefined and then literally be doing the organizing as I am talking in the video. Doing it the first of those two ways could potentially be helping me to succeed with the goal, but then there's something to be said for the latter, because another idea I really like and I really believe in is that to make a good thing, you either do it in live time or you don't do it at all. My favorite poet, John Keats, who, if you know him, you know wrote some of the very greatest poems that were ever written in the English language. He said something to the effect of, if a poem comes not as easily as a leaf falling from a tree, something like that. That might not have been the simile, but something like that, then it had better not come at all. So if he can't sit down and have a poem just flow out of his pen fairly effortlessly, it was his experience as a practicing poet that he might as well just not write a poem at all, because no poem that he strained over and tried to construct instead of tried to simply transmit from his the inspired part of him, no such poem ever was successful with him. So when I was younger and I would read that quote of his, it did not compute for me. How could a man write Ode to a Nightingale, or Ode to a Grecian Urn, or To Autumn, or Ode on Psyche, which is my favorite of his poems? How could he have just sat down and written those in basically one continual burst of composition over the course of a couple of hours? It just seemed impossible. It seemed to me he must have written these poems painstakingly, a few lines at a time for weeks on end. And yet that is not what he did. And I'm that much older than I was when I first discovered Keats, and I've heard enough anecdotes from other amazing artists to realize that really is how great artists work. Jay-Z hears a beat, and either he passes on the beat or he realizes this is a beat I want to rap on for my next album, and he goes in the booth then and there and he raps over the beat. And maybe what is produced in that booth will be so good that he'll put it on his album, or maybe he'll put it in the archive and he won't release it. But if you buy, or if you go on Spotify and you listen to the Blueprint and you're listening to those songs, he heard the beats for each of them, and what you're hearing from him, his verses, he went in the booth and he just rapped all of that on the spot. And if it's great, great. If it's good, good. If it's kind of bad, it's kind of bad. But that's it. So I like the idea more of simply knowing what topic I want to talk about. And I think it's fine to get a small head start before I hit record on the video, where I'm gathering some notion of how I want to run the course, as it were. But for the most part, just hit record and let it happen. And it's best that it not come at all if it can't come as easily as a leaf comes from a tree. So that's going to be the approach I take first, but the whole reason I'm doing this is to learn what does and doesn't work, to grow as a person and get to where I dream of being in terms of my ability to express myself. So exciting stuff ahead, feeling really good about it. And if you are somehow still here at the 13.5-minute mark, thanks a lot for sticking with me, and I appreciate it. I'll be back tomorrow night with a new video, and I hope that you have a great rest of your day or night, depending on what time it is, when and where you are.